Welcome back to Comic Book ASMR. Today we're going to be doing a flip through of the Cowabunga collection art book. This was the main draw for me to try to get the limited edition collector's set of the game that released. But before we do that, I'd like to say that this video has been sponsored by Manta Sleep. Manta Sleep is a company that makes incredible sleep masks. For this right here, these eye cups block out 100% of the light when you're trying to sleep. You can adjust this band anywhere on here to tighten or loosen this. In the cups as well, you can remove and adjust as well because not every face is built the same. They do offer heated cups and ones that are cold, different types of masks, weighted masks. So yeah, just click the link below to get to Manta Sleep to support the channel. And if you enter the promo code COMIC, you get 10% off your order, and it helps support the channel. So go do that. Thanks. So we are now dealing with the Cowabunga collection art book. I will show off the other parts of this as well, like the full package, but I really wanted to highlight the book as the cost of the edition is a little pricey. And if this was the main draw for you, I kind of want you to see the book without having to drop that cash, and now there's scalpers and all sorts of things. So this walks through every single game. You get a lot of really nice art for each of the games here, and as we go through it, you can kind of tell. And then the table of contents showed you too. So the first one here is the arcade game, the big one that you'd always see, you know, when you're out and about. They've had like the retro one-up has remade the cabinets and things like that. And then right behind it is the other arcade game. This is Turtles in Time. And so yeah, this is another huge one too. I think this is the one I'm more familiar with. But yeah, same bright sprite work as well. I do believe on these versions the music has changed slightly due to copyright issues, so that's kind of a bummer. But if you get the initial version of just the collection, it's $40, and it includes, 12 games on here, and there's all sorts of other cool features and stuff. And you have certain like secret cheats you can turn on and stuff like that. There's a rewind feature, all sorts of cool stuff. So next one here, this is the Ninja Turtles game for the NES. This game I have never actually played. And this is, of course, that famous Turtles cover that I was fortunate enough to finally acquire. This is, I believe, the second printing cover, maybe third, of issue number 4. Can't recall. And then it shows the Japanese box art here too. So it says in Japanese, the title reads Gekekama Ninja Den, which is Legend of the Extreme Ninja Turtles. And then we see concept work here. This looks a lot like the Splinter action figure at the time. That's pretty cool. And then it shows kind of some standard moves next to the sprites there. And then, yeah, once again, we see right here, this Shredder looks a lot more like the Eastman Mirage Studios Shredder. And then here we've got the more serious color scheme, not really modeled after the cartoon, but more in the vein of the comic book. So there's more sprite work here. And this shows a level map, kind of the proportions, the hit boxes, where they would line up on here, how the spacing would work if you're trying to land a jump and all this sort of stuff. From what I hear, this game is pretty difficult. I think the hardest part is there's like a swimming sewer part, I think, where you're trying to disarm bombs. I haven't gotten there, so I couldn't tell you. And I have yet to sit down and play all the games on here. This is one of them that I haven't played yet. So yeah, we see more concept stuff, and this Bebop looks a lot like they just drew straight from the action figure for reference there. And you see all sorts of weird creatures you never really have encountered in the Ninja Turtles here. We got a roof leaper, birdie, fleetus, jellyfish, blood eye, needle beast, rolling gale, and giant frog. I assume these were aspects from another game that they just kind of plugged in. They already had them, and it continues on. Flapjaws, Dust Stalker, Balloon Bumper, Rocket Man, Gullum, Chainsaw Maniac. They should have put him in the cartoon. Tailnoid, Laser Shooter. After all this craziness, we do get a Mouser, and we get a Mecha Turtle, which is kind of like a, metalhead hybrid there. And this big, huge Mouser. These piercing eyes. And then this is Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. This is for the NES as well. This came out in 1990. I did get this game, but much later. In my house, we didn't get an NES until about 96, and I found this game for $5 in a Walmart clearance bin. And then we do get some fun facts here too. It says, although the game didn't feature the arcade graphics, they made up for it by having 2 new levels in here, Central Park and House of Shogun. Has 2 unique boss characters, Tora and Shogun, created just for the game. The 2 in the title suggest this is a sequel, but this game is based on the first arcade release and doesn't really continue the story of the previous NES game. Game's manual described this as a sequel to the first live-action movie, which wasn't entirely accurate either. The manual also labels the mutated form of Baxter Stockman as Natman to distinguish him from his human form, a name that stuck with him. And then here's the Japanese box art. Pretty similar, only a lot brighter. It's got the red bricks and stuff there, red and orange. So we see some more concept work and sprite work. How these turtles, they like have the thin part that goes up into the leg. It's a little strange. Have some villains here. Once again, we see a few random ones, but more recognizable ones are in here. So this was the unique boss. This is a fun pun one here. Vincent Van Growl. Venom is random. The others look pretty consistent. And then Tora, this was the other unique one. And we have Turtles 2, the Manhattan Project. Or Turtles 3, my mistake, the curve blocked it for me. And yeah, so this is for the NES as well. This one I don't think I have any recollection of, actually. So once again, we can direct to the fun facts here. While the Turtles are vacationing in Florida, Shredder kidnaps April again, along with the entire island of Manhattan, levitating the city with the help of Krang's spaceship. Controls are similar to the previous game, but with a new story and characters unique to this game. 2 players can play simultaneously and can choose whether the attacks cause damage to each other or not. It says this illustration, although to the right, shows the turtles fighting a Triceraton. These enemies do not appear anywhere in this game. And I don't remember if this was actually used for a comic cover either. You can let me know down below. Love to know which one, if it is. And then so here is Turtles 2, as this was known in the Japanese area. No fun extra translations there. But yeah, this is kind of more of the stock imaging of the turtles we would see, only colored differently than they would usually appear on t-shirts. It would be like a flatter sort of coloring. Nice little image here with them on the beach. See more sprites and concepts here, of course. I like this with them riding the giant mouser there. Or I suppose that's a medium mouser, I would guess. We got Leatherhead there. If you're in Florida, of course, you've got to have him in there. You got Toka Razar slash Ground Chuck. Shredder with an ooze canister. Gee, I wonder what he's going to do with that. And we have Turtles Tournament Fighters. This is the NES version, which is the only one I hadn't previously played. And each of them actually have different rosters and different box art. So this is the unique villain to this particular game here. So let me read some of the fun facts. This came out in '94. Shredder challenges the Turtles to single combat, and they must battle among themselves to determine who is the best. Story mode players compete against 3 companions and a clone of themselves. Then take on Casey Jones and Hothead. So this is Hothead, a dragon character based on comics and action figures. The final battle is with Shredder. Turtles do not use their signature weapons in battle, but do have unique special moves. Release date and console's lifespan. This was the last third-party game published for Nintendo, and is the only version of Tournament Fighters not released in Japan. Yeah, I was about to say, when this came out, like, it was brushed aside to my knowledge, because I had never even seen it. So, here's some of the sprites here. Or Casey Jones there. And yeah, I played this with my kid. Very strange. I absolutely love the other two. But the NES version, not so great. And we have Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. This came out in 1990 for the Game Boy. Another one I never played. We never had a Game Boy, so I never played any of these. So Turtles battle through 5 stages to rescue April. End level bosses are Rocksteady, Bebop, Baxter, Shredder, Krang. If the current character runs out of health, they are captured and the player takes over with the next turtle. Capturing companions can be released by beating mini-games hidden within the levels. Game's cutscenes are inspired by portions of the 1987 cartoon. Package illustration on the right is from the comics adaptation of the first live-action film, and they did use this later on for the Turtles Universe #1 cover, because I have this one signed, so I do know that. And then here's the Japanese cover. Once again, same image, but they just focus on the turtles, not much else. Whole bunch of Japanese written there. And yeah, it's the Game Boy, so it's all in black and white here, even though if you're playing on the system, it would have been rendered in that green from the screen, you know. But yeah, these are all remastered with black and white for all the Game Boy games. Yeah, and then definitely these are cartoon stills here. Pretty good capture of those, honestly. So then we have Turtles 2, Back from the Sewers, another Game Boy release. I do remember this logo. I remember seeing an ad for this in a comic with the little eyes there. So this came out in '91, continues the story, and has similar gameplay to the previous Game Boy game. At the beginning of each stage, players can select which turtle to play. Each character has unique strengths and weaknesses. Leo and Mikey are well balanced. Donatello has longer range and slower attacks, while Raph has quick attacks but shorter range. Unique gameplay features include dodging falling boulders, climbing on ceilings, and riding skateboards. Players can also move up and down on the screen in some areas, in addition from side to side. one of the first Game Boy games with digitized speech. Yeah, I remember anytime a game had talking, it was like mind-blowing when you were a kid. And we get this very cool cover. Once again here, I don't know if this is recollected from another Turtles comic. Let me know if it is. And then, yeah, so this is the box art from the Japanese one. So that is lifted from the Turtles 2 arcade game, I believe. Yeah. And then they just kind of spread it out a bit. So we get more concept stuff lined up with the animatics. And honestly, pretty nice looking. They've captured them, like the more the rounded aspect, even getting the pupils in there, and even the sprites. I'm very impressed with the detail of the sprites, having the pupil in there and stuff. And very clean line drawings there. Looks really nice. I would say this is kind of the first one that doesn't look so super sketchy with their character turnarounds and lineups here, so that's pretty cool. So we see level design. See our bosses here. Nothing too crazy. This one's cool here, Krang and this big old walker. The Bebop looks very chibi to me with the large head there. Yeah, the drawings here. Yeah, I'd say it's modeled pretty well after the cartoon. Yeah, for sure. Then we have Turtles 3, Radical Rescue. Once again, another Game Boy game. I have never seen this. I don't even recognize this title, and I thought this image was crazy here. But I think it's by the same person who did the Turtles in Time art, maybe. So this came out in '93. Shredder has captured most of the Turtles, leaving only Mikey to embark on a mission to rescue his brothers. Something completely new for the series. This is an open-world, non-linear adventure game, introducing all new combat and exploration abilities. All the Turtles need to be released to use their unique skills to complete the game. Leo drills to the ground, Mikey hovers with nunchucks, Donnie climbs walls, and Raph slips into small passages. A challenging and lengthy adventure which features a password system to continue where players left off. So that's pretty cool. I've never heard of that, and that sounds really interesting, actually. And so, yeah, for this one, they just straight up used cartoon images for the box here. And just kind of mixed up, too. I don't think... I like how we've got, like, the classic dungeon crawler key there, too. And yeah, we get more character lineups, sprite work. Yeah, so this is Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. This is the SNES, Super NES version here. Came out in '92. This is the one most people talk about, either this or the arcade typically. An adaptation of the second arcade game. This version used 4 in the title to match the numbering system of the previous games. There are several differences from the arcade version, including a use of a Mode 7 forward scrolling for the Neon Knight Riders level, and modified boss battles with Rat King, Slash, Bebop, and Rocksteady. A new Technodrome level was added, along with changing the final boss battle from Shredder to Super Shredder. Players can intentionally throw foot soldiers toward the screen, a random effect in the arcade game but required in this version. Top-selling Super NES game of September 1992. So we're right at the anniversary then. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, this is definitely a classic game. And I recently got a bootleg of it because the real game was more than I had at the time, and now it's on this collection, so pretty cool. So we've got some additional info here. So it says, although the US version of the game used the numbering 4, the Japanese games did not include the same number, since the first Japanese NES game had different name. The numbers on the games wouldn't match up, so they just called it Turtles in Time. As with several of the other games, the front package illustrations is considerably different for the Japanese version. Turtles are often portrayed as more happy and cute when seen in Japan. Some of the Japanese games have entirely different names or subtitles as well. The Japanese Famicom packaging is vertical rather than horizontal. Super Nintendo system box, so the orientation of the illustration is different. That's why it looks kind of cropped here. In parts of Europe, the word ninja was considered too violent, so the famous quartet in their games were known as Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. And yeah, I remember that. I had the cards that were like more or less censored. It said hero cards, and then anything that featured Mikey's nunchuck, that card was not included, and that's why he switched to like the little hook thing. It was like a grappling hook that he used, and he used that a lot later seasons, so they wouldn't have to like dual edit episodes like that. And then yeah, once again we see, concept work and image stills, character designs, all this cool sort of stuff here. Definitely love this game. I definitely had to figure out the throwing mechanic, because that's how you've got to beat the initial encounter with Shredder before he sends you back in time. I love how this looks straight up like a Turtles toy accessory. So random that they have the pizza monsters in here too, which were just pretty much alien ripoffs. But it's fine. And then we have the pirate, Bebop and Rocksteady there. Yeah, no, this is a good solid game. So then we have Tournament Fighters for the Super NES. So this is the same thing there. Oh, there's a little bit. Shredder has entered a global fighting tournament and the Turtles sign up to stop him. Meanwhile, the mysterious Karai has kidnapped Splinter and April O'Neil, so it's time for the Turtles to get fighting. The game's story mode allows players to select one of the 4 turtles and play against all the other opponents, including their clone called Fake Brother. The full combat roster includes 10 main characters, all 4 half-shell heroes, and 6 new characters, plus 2 unlockable bosses. That's Rat King and Karai. Each of the Tournament Fighter games has a different cast. While several of the fighters are from the TV series or comics, Asuka is an original character created just for this version of the game. In Japan, her outfit and wind pose are slightly different. So yeah, this is the version that I mainly played with my good friend who now works in video games and worked on like CG cutscenes for pretty much most of the big Sony games like Uncharted and stuff like that. Super cool and really proud of him. But yeah, I'd always go over to his house and we would play the mess out of this game. So here's the Japanese stuff here. I was about to say if it had any additional translation. This almost looks a little bit like how they looked in the 4Kids Fox show, but I know it's not. But that's kind of, especially like this Donnie here, that's what I'm kind of reminded of when I look at it. And I absolutely love like these little character power images here, and then we get these more sketchy drawings here. So yeah, this game they utilize using like random abilities. You can see here, and they call them out when they're fighting and stuff. So pretty unique. And then yeah, so Armagon here. I don't know if he came out in the game first. I guess he didn't based upon that information, but I knew him from the game first before the other stuff. So Asuka is this new character who's just kind of random. And then Chrome Dome here. I had never seen him before this game. And then Karai was a mystery, but now it's been passed down that she is Shredder's daughter. And then we have Rat King. He looks almost like Frankenstein here. And we have Cyber Shredder. I'm not sure why they decided to call him Cyber Shredder. I guess just to make him different. We have War, and then Wingnut, who is probably my best character inadvertently. He's just got a few really solid moves that make him easy to use. But yeah, great images here. Everything about the game is fun. I love the music. I love all the over-the-top sound effects and everything. Very much in the vein of Street Fighter and stuff. It is a Konami game, so sound fonts sound great. And it's just a classic. Then this looks a lot more like the 90s Turtles there. The movie one, when I say that. There's a little dragon breath move, I believe. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And then he's doing a little Destructo disc there. It's just such a good game. So yeah, I hope if you haven't at least gotten the standard version, it's definitely worth it. You get like 12 games for $40. Karai looks like she's going Super Saiyan here. So that's interesting. And then this is a different costume for her. They do have alternate like color schemes too. There's 2 different colors for each character. And the Turtles alts, they have like their action figure skin tones. So that's pretty cool. Which initially I was annoyed with when I was a kid, but now I'm a big fan of it. So then we have Hyperstone Heist. This was on the Sega Genesis. This one I never played, but yeah, so we'll get right into the fun facts here. Shredder uses powerful Dimension X artifact, the Hyperstone, to shrink Manhattan Island. It's big trouble for the Turtles. This first Turtles game for Sega Genesis includes many elements from the arcade game Turtles in Time, as well as remixed parts of the first arcade game and some original sections unique to this title. Although there are fewer levels in this game than the other home and arcade versions of Turtles, levels are longer and more challenging due to more aggressive enemy AI. Tatsu, a character from the live-action films, appears as a boss. This is the only Turtles game to feature Bebop as a boss without his usual partner, or Rocksteady without Bebop. I misread that. So yeah, I think this might be the same artist from the Turtles in Time. Possibly, I don't know. So in the Japanese box, way different. A lot more aggressive too. They said the Japanese stuff was typically more cheery. This looks a lot more intense. Different title to Return of the Shredder. Interesting. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I think the biggest gripe here, I've seen some people do playthroughs, is just the music. It just doesn't sound as good. Which, normally if I play something first on the Sega, I like the Sega sound over the Super NES. But for that one in particular, I just like the Super NES one so much. And we have tournament fighters for the Sega. So this one, Splinter is taken by 4 purple turtle clones sent by Krang. The real heroes travel to the galaxy to get their master back. Features 8 playable characters and 3 unplayable bosses. Game story mode has players take on clones of each of the turtles. These clones are playable characters in other modes. The controls are unique for this version, using 1 button each for punch, kick, and taunt. The taunt button, along with a secret D-pad motion, can unleash a devastating desperation attack when a player's health is low. Innovations include instant replays and 88 opponent survival mode, that sounds super long, and breakable areas that expand the fighting environments. So yeah, I played a little bit of this with my son. But yeah, I'd say the Super NES one is still my favorite. And here is the Japanese one, and this looks like it harkens more to the movie. And even I noticed that with like the character select screen and stuff too. It was more along the lines with the movie image. So I think Sisyphus is brand new for this game. And I was kind of wigged out. Rayfale's head looks really small, and then the Triceraton here looks like more mature. He's usually all orange and stuff, so this one looks like a darker version of one, so I like the orange one better. And then, yeah, we get our serious eyes whited out turtles. Karai, Krang. So yeah, Casey is only playable in here, and so is April. She looks way different. I don't know why she looks like that. There's our credits. And our last page here showing a bit of the montage. So I do wish this book was like at least a thin hardback, but see, cover got bent. This was when I pulled it out of the packaging here. So that's the book. I'm going to move on to all of the rest of the stuff just to kind of show you guys. I'm sure you guys have seen the unboxings, but I just want to cover it here too, because why not, you know? So that book was a big draw for me, and then the Eastman art is a big draw for me too. So this is the slip case for the game. And this is the box lid itself. So there are like matte on gloss bits, as you can see, like the turtles are glossy and the logo is too, and then everything else is flat. And then this image is actually different than the cloth poster that is included too. So gripe 2, this box is not very thick. That little slip thing I pulled off is only like slightly thinner than this top lid. The bottom of the box is thicker, but even then it's not very well constructed, unfortunately. And we have the game itself here, which, yeah, and you can also play it on the PS5 if you ever get the chance to acquire one. I would like one, but I can never find one. But yeah, and so this has like bonus features and stuff too. They have like stills from tons of the comics and all of like the cartoon iterations and stuff. So I was really impressed by kind of the extra stuff on this. There's the same little montage that's kind of been shown here, only it's on the inside. And then they do have dividers to kind of minimize damage, but I think that's kind of what did mine in, unfortunately. I'll show this off at the end because it's bigger. I hope it'll even fit in frame. So we've got these Turtles pins here, which these are pretty cool. I do have my other like Turtles arcade pins, so they'll go nicely with these. And these are like enamel, so they've got this shiny, cool texture on them. I don't know about this background they used on it though. Kind of strange because everything is just kind of placed here. You know, they didn't even like try to put like, okay, the blimp should be here in the air and these two guys should be down here, you know, like. So the backing card for this was kind of thrown together, I feel. And it's just a thin cardboard. It's not even, you know, if you pop these off, like you're gonna screw that up. And then this was a inconsequential piece to me too. I'll try to build this as well in a moment here. This was something cool I liked though. And then yeah, so here's the empty box, and it's kind of thicker. It's got like a bit of the, you know, ooze, just kind of 90s feel to it, which is fine. But yeah, I wish the lid was at least just as thick as this. I'm worried about tearing that lid every time I try to take it off. But yeah, no, these cards are cool because I don't know if you can really see it here. It's kind of transparent. If you hit a light underneath these, you can see through this. And so it creates kind of a cool effect. But these are all the Tournament Fighter character cards from the Super NES version. So you get... And of course they make such lovely sounds, which we like on this channel. But yeah, it's literally all the images from the instruction manual. His shows up a bit better here without a light, see? So cool. But I absolutely love these. I love the art style on these. Then we've got Asuka just kind of showing up unannounced here. I do not like this character. Her moves are really easy to pull off, though. It's a chrome dome. Yeah, see how cool that is. There we go. Y'all are getting a bit of the feel of it now. There's Karai. Our Frankenstein. Rat King. Our Cyber Shredder. They just call him regular Shredder here, though. War. And, oh, Wingnut. So, yeah, I absolutely love these. So, now I'll try to open this and build it. I'm gonna give this to my kid. I don't even care about this. Alright, so I got all the very noisy pieces out of their individual bags. And now I'll try to build this thing. So yeah, even trying to get this in, it broke. So that should tell you a little bit about the quality of whatever the heck it is. Like, who even asked for this? Yeah, so I am not even gonna... Basically, each of these aren't fitting in the base right. I tried to get the back one in, and it broke this thing, and you can't even see through these right. Look, you're supposed to be able to see Mikey or Raph in between here. This is so... See, look, even pressed up against it, you can't even see it. So this is ridiculous. This isn't even good. So I'm super annoyed now. I would much rather have preferred them to up the quality on the box and that book and just completely do away with this. Because this doesn't even fit together. So that's not even cool. And then we get this really beautiful Kevin Eastman cloth poster of him reimagining the Turtles in Time image. So yeah, I mainly got the special version for the book and for this right here for the Eastman art. So that being said, based on everything else, I would probably give the collection as a whole, like the limited edition, not the games itself, but the limited edition, I would give a 7.5. I would have said 8.5, but after that thing broke and then the visual doesn't even work on it, like, that's ridiculous. So not sure what to do about that, but yeah, let me know if you're gonna buy at least the base version or you bought this and what your favorite parts were. I did like the cards and the pins as well, but that little acrylic thing was absolute garbage. And the book should have been a hardback, and the box should be good enough to not worry about tearing. So there are aspects of it I like, but yeah, like I said, I would say a 7.5. So yeah, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you love any of these Turtles games in particular. And as always, you all have a super slumber. Thanks. Bye.